Good morning. Thank you very much. I'm Peter Gammons. To me, this has been one of the really great weekends. And we thank you very much for being here. I mean, second largest crowd at an induction in history, 53,000 people. A record 57 Hall of Famers coming back for this event. It's, as I can say personally, it's certainly in my 5 to 10 favorite weekends for all the years I've come here because of the relationship between these players and everyone who came here, whether they're the fans or former teammates. In a couple of cases, players I hadn't seen for years said, I just respected such and such so much, I had to come back and just see them. I brought my son, say, I played against this guy. I don't remember really that happening. It also was great because it wasn't the huge media crush of Yankees, Red Sox, Cubs, Dodgers. And I did used to walk to Fenway Park every day for 24 years, but that's another story. No, it's about Detroit. It's about Cleveland. It's about San Diego or Minneapolis, the south side of Chicago, Atlanta. I mean, to me, that's what made it so great, the relationship and also the way people reacted. And all 6 of these gentlemen had such relationships with their cities. And I think that's just, some of that has faded in time, but it's so good. I mean, I was thinking about this, and I've always said this in work I do in the inner city, that it's my hope that someday greatness will be judged by goodness. And I think that the people, all of you who came here and came to see these gentlemen, every one of the 6 could clearly be judged. Their greatness is judged by their goodness. And I think that's really important. And I presume you're all a little bit more relaxed today. Pudge Rodriguez and Tim Raines both told me they couldn't even remember their speeches. They were so nervous. They remember this more than they remember the speeches. But for so many of you having been on the stage in the World Series, and to me this is fascinating. Just like each one of you, starting with you, Tram, and going down, how can you compare being up on that stage and you're taking your place in history to playing in the World Series?
Well, the first thing, I think we're going to do it all in unison. We're going to take we feel a lot better today, no question about it. I think what happens is that I thought from my perspective, listening to everybody, we were well prepared. Just like when we played, we were prepared. But the anxiety that we all feel, we want to do a good job. We're humans. But listening, I know we were prepared. But when you lock it in, you look out there, we're not really looking at one person. We're looking at kind of a mirage. We know you're there, but we're locking it in. We're getting focused on what we need to do.
Jack?
For me, there's 2 thoughts that come to mind. The first one was, how could I ever top the exuberation I felt after the Minnesota Twins won the World Series against the Atlanta Braves? And I, hey, calm down. I have a compliment for all you Braves fans.
Let him finish.
It could have been cut in half, okay? The trophy could, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. That's how much love I had for that series and for the 2 teams that were there. Yeah. But I've always said, and I've meant this too, that if everybody could feel what I felt after the '91 World Series ended, we'd have a better world. And then we come to this weekend, and to share it with these guys, I felt as much love there as I've ever felt in my life, and I thank you all for it.
I've always wondered if you remembered doing a at 6 o'clock in the morning
Yeah.
after that game doing a Sunday conversation with me for ESPN.
Well, I did you. I did Good Morning America, and I hadn't got a wink of sleep because we partied all night.
How about you?
So for me, I think you know, when you retire, you go about 5 years and you go, man, I miss that feeling of waking up and having that kind of nervous anxiety feeling as you speak of. And yesterday morning for me was like playing in the World Series or your first, you know, the opening days that you go through. It was something special like no other, and I'll never forget it. You know, the crowd looking out and seeing all of you embrace us as players meant so much. It's meant the world, I think, to all of us, the support from our cities, from all the other fans that have showed up as well, and we appreciate it so much. You have no idea.
I still don't know how you gave a speech after your daughter sang the anthem.
Yeah, it got very emotional quickly there to start it out, but luckily I had a few speeches to kind of recover and get ready.
How about you,
For
Trevor?
me, it was sheer terror. I would much rather have been facing Jack in Game 7 of the. That's our domain, you know. That's where we feel the most comfortable. But to have us up in front of 50,000 people, you know, especially with the 60 guys behind you critiquing you the whole time, and people tapping on their watch and going, you know. You want to try and speed it up as much as possible. But like you said, like Tram said, you know, we don't do anything where we're not the utmost prepared for the situation. And I think reading through that thing about 30 or 40 times kind of helps. But I knew that, like you said, you pick a spot in center field, and whenever you look up, you concentrate on that spot. I couldn't look at Mom and Dad, or else I'd have broke down. But again, I think it's really a special group geographically. You know, you got Latin America well represented. You've got the surfer boy from San Diego. You got the redneck from the southeast. You know, you got the Midwest and the northern parts of America taken care of. So it makes Cooperstown a melting pot this week, which makes it pretty cool.
It was really special for me too, having actually known you at the beginning of your careers. I mean, I can remember you still were just coming out of the Eastern League, I think, when the first time I ever met you. I saw Vladdy play for Harrisburg. I drove to New Britain, Connecticut just to watch him play. And so it means a lot to someone who loves the game, but first of all realizes the game is about players, and that makes this weekend so special. How about you, Trevor?
Well, we go way back, too. I think we met when I was 12 years old, and you gave up your tickets to the '86 World Series for my dad and I. Wow. It was pretty amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. But I want to share a very jealous moment on stage. When Chipper got done, he came down, sat next to me, and he did the breath. Didn't he, Trap? I went, you dog, you dog.
He's done.
Have fun, buddy.
Awesome. Yeah. I'll tell you, to stand behind that podium and have such an individual moment, be able to share it with such an amazing team that I'm going in with, and share it with all you folks, I don't think it could have gotten any better. It was a special moment, just like an opportunity to go into a World Series ball game. It was off the charts and made every expectation right.
And Vladdy, how much was this like playing?
Vladi, él quiere saber qué tanto se compara esto con haber jugado y viendo tanta gente, más de 50,000 fanáticos. Tú jugaste en Serie Mundial. Dice, ¿cómo se comparó el día de ayer, la preparación, lo que tuviste en enfrentar a alguien en una Serie Mundial?
Bueno, me sentí contento. Vi mucha gente de mi República Dominicana, Canadá y también de donde jugué 6 años también, que fue en Anaheim. Y claro que sí, pues nada más jugué una sola Serie Mundial, pero tan siquiera con Anaheim ganábamos la división el 2010. Con Tesa, que me sentí contento que di un doble para empujar dos carreras para ganar a los Yankees.
Y comparando la gente que tuviste con lo que es una Serie Mundial.
Yo creo que aquí uno tuvo que respirar un poquito. ya que no estaba hablando, sino jugando, y aquí tuve que hablar un poquito, y me siento contento, como dije ahorita, que vi mucha gente de mi pueblo y de nuestra República Dominicana.
So for Vladi, the experience was to see so many people representing, first of all, the places where he played. And he says, I remember every single one of them, from winning divisions with the Angels to the first year with Montreal. And the Canadian people are so important to him, but also his year in Baltimore and his World Series with the Texas Rangers. Very special to him. And in comparison, in his little town, there's a lot of people here from Don Gregorio in the Dominican Republic, but those flags really hit him. And he says, as all of you said, is he had to take a deep breath because of the impact and the grandeur of the whole thing, following and watching the guys in front of him, but understanding that he needed to also absorb that moment.
You know, speaking of Vladi's relationship with his country, and I remember the day you were in Boston, had lunch with David Ortiz. There had been the hurricane damage in the Dominican Republic, and you two came back from having lunch and announced you were starting a fund. How important was it to the two of you to raise all that money to help your country?
Hablando de la importancia que tiene tu país para ti, él recuerda aquel año en Boston, tú y David, luego de un huracán, salieron a almorzar. Y terminando de comer, ya tienen un plan en cómo ayudar a la gente. ¿Qué tan importante fue eso en tu vida, en tu carrera y el impacto que tuvo en la gente dominicana damnificada?
Claro que sí, yo creo que fue uno de los huracanes que yo vi, que azotó nuestra dominicana. Yo creo que uno de los que trató es ayudar a familias pobres que se les fue mucha casa y no tenían a dónde dormir. Y David y yo yo fui para su casa y comenzamos a hablar de eso. Entonces también se metió también Bartolo Colón. Y para ayudar también en nuestra república entera, porque fue desbaratado Dominicana.
Peter says he remembers that day very well because the Angels had just flown into town, and he and David got together at David's house for some rice and beans. And along them, Bartolo Colon, who didn't want to miss the food. But he said the main thing was that it was like the first time he and David were able to say, did you see the impact because of all the images coming back? And he said, we just could not hold because we saw so many people that either had no place to sleep, no place to live, and he knew with their power in baseball and the word to get out with baseball and the love of baseball in our country, they needed to do something, and they're very proud they did.
This is for Jack and Tram. You know, we hear a lot about teammates, relationships. You two go back a long way, back when you were triples Trammell. I used to write in my column every week. But what's it like going into the Hall of Fame with someone that you've played with and known so long?
Well, first of all, it's nice to be able to lean on somebody that you really do know, even though coming in a few days early, I think was wise from the Hall of Fame. It's not their first rodeo to have us all get acclimated for a few days, and I think that really helped. We've all met before, which is cool in itself, but to have a teammate, again, that's priceless. And you know, we obviously we came up together, along with a few others, but for us to be able to make it together is very special, and they can't take that away. Not too many teammates can go in like that at the same time.
This man is my brother. And right there is another one of my brothers. Stand up, Lou. Stand up. Lou Whitaker. I just want to say it as simple as I can. We spent so much time together at a very influential time of our lives. And we grew from boys to men in the process. And that lasts a lifetime, and that's why we consider ourselves brothers. And the bond that we share, every one of these guys got teammates that share the same thing, but we're pretty darn lucky that we get to do this together.
Well, this is for Trevor and Chipper. You have an unusual relationship because you've, 22 at-bats. You faced him, including the playoffs in '98.
Don't say the numbers.
What I'm interested in is two of you talk a little bit about how you approached one another.
Well, it's pretty simple with him. You go up and sit on one or the other. You know, I mean, you sit on fastball, you sit on changeup, because you can't sit one and hit the other. The separation between fastball and changeup, that's what made him so good, was so great that you couldn't sit, 75 miles an hour on the changeup and still hit, low 90s, mid 90s back when he was, younger. So that was, hey, we all lose a little bit. We all lose. Father Time is undefeated. He's undefeated. All right. Yeah. So it was basically take a look at the situation in the game. Obviously, if there are guys on, I know I'm more apt to probably get that change up. If I'm leading off an inning, I might get a fastball or two more. So it changed, but I was sitting one or the other, and it's weird because whenever I'd go up and sit change up, I think you could tell how I was taking pitches, and you would bust me fastballs in, and whenever I was sitting on the fastball, he could tell I was getting a little jumpy, and he'd come with them combios, and I'd go sit down.
I do remember you going and sitting down after you circled the bases. That wasn't any fun. You're supposed to have short-term memory as a reliever, and it's really hard to kind of have short-term memory when he sees what he's doing to the rest of your pitching staff. So I think the idea, what he just talked about, trying to disrupt timing and understand his foot tap was such an important part of his timing mechanism, and handled that balance so well that as a former infielder and a former hitter, and realizing how much that impacts you as a hitter, that was something I tried to pay attention to for sure. But it was never fun in Atlanta here. Crazy Train come on, a big blaring airs, and it was a lot of fun to have that competition inside the game of baseball.
That's a kind of a fun thing for you two to be 23 at bat or 22 at bats, and you're sitting here together. It's pretty amazing to me. Jim, I thought one time, and I'd love you to talk about it a little bit, that the story you told me after you hit your 600th home run, about the memory of coming here after your 400th with your father and sitting out on the porch of the Oda Saga.
It was incredible. We got snowed out a couple times trying to get here, but what happened, we were in Baltimore, had an off day the next day, then flying to Boston. So Dad met me in Baltimore, and being blessed to have the opportunity to hit 500, which is in an elite company of all the greats. I wanted to deliver that ball to the Hall of Fame. That's where the ball needed to go. And to do that with your father, I think all of us can attest, like our fathers, what they mean to us. And to sit out on that porch, as all of us know, being here the last couple days, what it means to look out and see that water and have lunch was something undescribable. And then to be blessed to hit number 600, I wanted my son to deliver that ball and be a part of that. So, it's been a dream come true. You still today, you think, man, am I going to wake up? And I don't think. I hope we.
I hope we don't.
I hope we don't. So it's so special.
I thought one of the things that was really interesting yesterday was how much credit each one of you gave to other people. And I find it, it's really refreshing. I mean, there were very few eyes in any of the speeches, which is really remarkable for players of all your magnitude. But one relationship I'm interested in, Vladdy, because I know him so well and I remember when you came up, but just talk a little bit about when you came up to Montreal, how Pedro Martinez treated you and then how you did the same for other players when they came up.
Dice que le impresiona que cada uno de ellos el día de ayer hablaron de relaciones y personas de impacto en sus vidas y en sus carreras. Y él está interesado en tu relación con Pedro Martínez cuando tú subiste y luego también a través de tu carrera.
Claro que sí, mi primer año que hago en el 97, vivíamos juntos. A veces cuando me iba de 3-0 o de 4-0, comíamos una comida que podía ser como latina. Y si daba 2 hits, entonces seguía, le decía que vamos a comer en el mismo sitio que comíamos. Y él a veces decía, él iba por mí. Decía, no, pero vamos a ir a comer a otro sitio. Y yo, no, tú no viste lo que yo hice ayer. O si di 2 hits o 4, me iba de 4-3. Y a veces me siento contento y tener ahora mismo aquí también en el Cooperstown, juntos los 3 dominicanos, Juan Marichal, Pedro Martínez y yo soy el primer bateador. De que me siento contento estar aquí junto con él.
First of all, very happy to be here with Pedro and how he's welcomed me and almost taught me in how to become a Hall of Famer. We lived together the first year in Montreal after I made the team in '97. And I recall that Pedro would have this little matching game where we went to this Latin place, and if I had an 0-4, 0-for-7, a little stretch, Pedro said, we're never going to eat there again. But when they tried another Latin place, Vladdy got a couple hits, got in a good streak. Pedro says, this is our place for now, Vladdy. And he said also when Vladdy was not able to come because of other commitments, Pedro said, I'm going to go for you today, but you got to get the hits. And he says to be here and to have Pedro, to have Juan Marichal, to be the first Dominican position player to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and to be with Pedro, his compadre. And Pedro is the
Bueno, que es padrino del primer hijo mío, de Brady Jr. Somos compadres.
They're comrades, compadres, because Pedro is the godfather of up-and-coming Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Who makes his debut in Buffalo tonight? Okay, any of you want to get in your cars and drive over? Chipper, one of the things that really struck me in your career, and there were, I'd find players who would talk about it they'd be playing in the Cape Cod League or in the minor leagues. You were such a hero to a big part of this country, throughout the South. How much were you aware of it, or we were just so focused on the game that you really didn't realize that the Justin Smokes of the world?
Right.
I copied every single thing you did, right down to touching your uniform.
Well, when I first got called up, we were the only team in the Southeast United States. We were blessed with having TBS, the superstation, covering us and throwing us, all over the country. I think the high socks, the nurdle-neck, I call it the nurdle-neck. Yeah, it just became a style, a fashion. It didn't hurt that you wore your pant legs up too, Jimmy. But yeah, it was hard for me early on in my career to keep all that attention, at arm's length. It's been well documented. But, with time, with age, with experience, you learn how to deal with that kind of stuff. Heck, I'd much rather have it that way than to have gone through the first, 5, 6, 7, 8 years of my career in relative obscurity. So I'll take it the way it was. I think, I've certainly grown from, a lot of the mistakes that I made early in my career, but I think the mistakes you make and the learning you do from those mistakes are, kind of what molds you into the man you are now, and I've certainly grown up a lot now. I would certainly go back, if I could go back in time to a 23-year-old me, I'd slap me upside the head. I really would. Good gracious. But I'm glad it's ended up the way it has.
Trevor, how important was it to you, the relationship you built with the people in San Diego? I mean, I must say, I went about 3 times in '98 in September, and every time your music would start, it was one of the most electrifying experiences. Just talk a little bit about that relationship.
Well, it shows today with so many people being a part of this. But I think the energy that we created together, to be honest with you, in that moment, building up to the end of the ball game and the excitement that was around it, was something that we both wanted to have happen. And to share that moment together for so many years. And San Diego is a great baseball town. There's some great baseball fans there that really appreciate the game. And they've been nothing but respectful and appreciative of my career, and it's totally helped.
That's great. We have some questions for fans. This first one is from Jack Duker from Albany, New York, and this is for Vlad. What's it like to have your son be considered the best prospect in baseball?
Una pregunta de un fanático. ¿Cómo te sientes el ver a tu hijo como uno de los principales prospectos ahora mismo en el béisbol?
Bueno, me siento bien contento. Nunca lo inyecté que juegue, pero desde pequeño. Siempre estaba adentro en el cruzado de Montreal. Tenía que pichar, o a veces le pichaba a Andrés Galarraga, que le pichó bastante cuando estaba más chiquito, cuando tenía 4 o 5 años. Y me siento contento que Dios me le dé salud, que está haciendo buen trabajo.
I feel so happy, and I just ask God to provide him with health and a long career. But I never pushed him to play baseball. I wanted him to have fun and enjoy my baseball career, but I couldn't get him away from the batting cage. I couldn't get him away from not just me throwing to him in the cage, but Andres Galarraga, he wore him out. And then when Galarraga got tired, Vladdy Jr. just kept asking for more guys to go hit off of. So he's very thankful for the position he's in right now and continues to support him and to stretch with him to continue to work hard and build his own career.
Jack, this is from Rebecca Turner, Rochester, Michigan. What's your favorite clubhouse memory from your days with the Tigers?
That I can talk about?
Yeah.
You know, share a little story. Some of you have probably already heard it, but we win the World Series in 84 against a little team in Southern California named the Padres.
You're making friends today, Jack.
I am really doing well here. I am really doing well here. Anyway, you know, the first time we get to experience that was extremely special. And the city of Detroit didn't quite know how to celebrate. So there was a bunch of rowdies that were outside tipping over cabs and a couple cop cars, and it got quite long, and they told us we could not leave the clubhouse because it wasn't safe to go home yet. And so the writers, the families were running out of food, and somebody had the great idea to order in some Domino's pizza. And I was able to see Mr. Monahan's helicopter pilot come into our clubhouse, and I was surprised to see him. And I asked him, "What are you doing here?" And he says, "Well, the helicopter is running right now at second base. Nobody's out there." And I said, "I'm going with you." And he said, "Don't tell anybody else." So I still have my uniform on, not my jersey top, or not my uniform top, but everything else. Socks, shower shoes, and away I go. Go out to second base, and up we go over at the light tower in Tiger Stadium. I get to see every madness that's going on. We land in Ypsilanti, 36 pizzas in the back of the chopper. and it was incredible. If I could show you the expression of those folks that were working at that pizza place when I walk in with my uniform still on.
That's an epic story.
Anyhow,
Really?
we get the pizzas. We come back. We land at second base. By this time, the word gets out in the clubhouse of what Happy Jack just got able to do. And I got the "You're number one" sign from all of my teammates.
Well, I appreciate it because I was trapped in the
Yeah.
press room upstairs, and
No food.
you brought so you brought the pizza. I didn't know that. I should tip you. Stay with Tiger, and this is a pretty logical question. It's something that a lot of us ask to one another, but it's how important is it to you two to see Lou Whitaker finally make the Hall of Fame?
I think I can handle that one. Well, I'm not going to be shy about that. You know, whether you want to call it biased or not, so be it. I believe that the story as I presented yesterday, but it is incredible, and I think, you know, Cooperstown is about history, and I think it's a pretty damn good story. The fact that we came up to the same day, and I ended up playing one more year. I'm not sure why. That last year when I played, we didn't have a whole lot of fun, but fact that we were together forever. That's how it is. It's Lou and Tram, and that's pretty cool. That's very special. And we came up the same day, and then just to get off a little bit on a tangent, but you know, here's a kid that I met, and he was the Florida State MVP playing for Jim Leland in the Florida State League. I haven't met Lou yet. We go to instructional ball. The first day, they said, Lou, you're going to play second. Now, here's a kid that just won the MVP, doesn't say a word. He just does it. We hook up, and the rest is history. But to his credit, I think I would have said something. If I just come off an MVP year, I think I might have questioned, like, what's wrong with me? I think I'm, pretty decent. He never said a word, to his credit, but it worked out quite well, to say the least. But proud of him, and in my opinion, he deserves to be here.
Peter, let me just add something. Tram and I have had to endure some time.
It means we're older.
Yeah, it was a nice way of saying this gray hair we earned. At least some that still have it. But patience has been a virtue for both of us. And I know it's got to be tough for Lou right now. It's got to be very tough. We have to be patient, and we got to hope for the best, because the process isn't perfect. It's never going to be perfect. We live in an imperfect world. But time will figure it out. I'm confident of that, Lou. Time will figure it out.
Jimmy, are there any of your former teammates that you ask, why isn't this guy in the Hall of Fame?
About 7 or 8 of them.
Really?
Yeah, well, there's so many. Those 90s teams we had, I mean, there's just incredible. From Lofton to Vizquel, Omar. Omar got a lot of votes this year, so hopefully he'll keep moving up. We were very blessed there in Cleveland, where we started from the bottom up and were able to come up together, but also produced together, which I thought was very important. As you guys said, we all share a special bond with our teammates, and we truly root for them to feel the moment that we feel today. And I hope that happens for if it's 2 of them, if it's 3 of them, great. We'll continue to support them.
Is it really special? And I ask all of you, if you just when you look back on certain players you rode the buses with in the minor leagues and had peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the back of the bus, and no meal money in those days. You think of guys and say, "Well, I really I remember them really fondly and want to see them again."
Well, I think so. I think some of the guys that you have those bus rides with in the minor leagues, those are lifelong friends. Those are lifelong bonds that are never going to go away. I can remember, Double-A, Tony Tarasco. I mean, how about this outfield? Tony Tarasco in right, Mike Kelly in center, Melvin Nieves in left. I mean, those guys, they'd hit 30 homers a year, if in a good year. But just forming those bonds, and we're all going to kind of go our separate ways, whether it's as teammates or unfortunately some of those guys got traded and went other places as free agents. But man, we used to sleep up in the rafters of the Bluebird bus. It was
Luggage rack.
the luggage rack. That's where we slept. You want to talk about bunking up. That's tough. Going from Jacksonville to Memphis and playing a day game the next day. You better get up in that rack and get some sleep. The bigger guys, the fatter guys, they couldn't get up in there, but so we let them have the seats. But yeah, it's a very special time to see those guys taking a little time out of their day to come and share your day with you.
It kind of goes to show, doesn't it, that it's a reminder to all of us that you're not born a Hall of Famer. What you put in to get here is extraordinary.
It is. You never dream of it. You dream of one day playing in the big leagues, but how do you dream of ever getting to a point where you're selected and elected to come into this great fraternity? It's not something we think about in the process. We're blessed to be very talented and to continue the daily process and not get ahead of ourselves, but continue to make adjustments. The one thing, I say with kids is, as I said yesterday, enjoy the game, man. This is why we're all here, is because of baseball. And, we're darn blessed. We thank all of you again. I know I've said that, but embrace your kids. Let them love the game.
So, and Trevor, when you decided to make the move, go from shortstop to pitching, how long did you think that would last?
I was hoping it was going to last a little bit longer than my days as an infielder, that's for sure. But in all honesty, I think that transition, I had to completely sell out to it. I think if it was a half, toe in, a toe out, I don't think I would have done the transition justice. And so I was aware of my situation. I knew that the writing was kind of on the wall, but like I said, they gave me an opportunity for a second chance in baseball, and I wanted to run with it. And sure, maybe in the perfect world as a young kid, I thought I was going to follow Glenn's footsteps to a degree. And my path was going to be a little bit different. It was going to be about how are you going to handle a little bit of adversity. Are you got a little fork in the road? Are you going to complain and whine about it, or are you going to find a way to succeed? And so I think with that attitude in anything we do, that we can learn from that with a little bit of hard work and not necessarily looking for perfection, but striving for excellence is kind of the way you want to go about it.
How much of a help was Glenn in giving you support when you were making that move?
I can't put into words how supportive he really was and how much that meant to me. I mean, to have a big brother at that right age, I mean, he's 10 years older than I am, and he makes the big leagues at 21, and I'm an 11-year-old kid. That's crazy to have that kind of opportunity. And so when I did have the opportunity to play in pro ball, to have that infinite amount of knowledge being passed down and experiences that he had to kind of help navigate some of those potholes that he had to go through that I didn't, allowed me to kind of have a little bit more smooth sailing, we'll say. And so to be able to share the game of baseball at this level with your brother, it's beyond words.
Now, I have a couple of questions, and I'm going to spread it out to all of you to talk about it. The question was for Chipper, but I think that all of you can relate with different members of your family and parents here. How important was it to have parents, family here when you were handed that plaque?
Me first? Okay. Like I said yesterday, my parents were everything. Whatever my dad was doing, that's what I wanted to be doing: hunting, fishing, playing baseball, playing football, shooting hoops, playing tiddlywinks, backgammon, whatever. Whenever I got my number retired in Atlanta, that's as much an honor to my father as it is to me. He's the reason I wore number 10. He was number 10 when he played. I had a ranch in South Texas called the Double Dime. I mean, everything has been centered around what he was doing. And he never said, hey, Chip, we need to go down to the park. We need to, work on your game. It was always me grabbing him by the shirt and saying, hey, let's go. And to his credit, I don't ever remember him saying no, And, if it was the wintertime and we wanted to go out in the carport and play 21 or, play around the world shooting hoops, I don't ever remember him saying no. And so whenever one of my 7 kids comes up to me and asks me, hey, Dad, let's go in the backyard, I'm thinking to myself, would my dad say yes or would he say no? And he always said yes, so out in the backyard I go. So he set a good example for me, and if I'm half as good a dad as he was, I'll be a pretty damn good one.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Dad kind of the same story, hey, do you want to go take BP? Do you want to take ground balls? And then it got to a point where I think I was asking him every hour to keep doing it. And now having a son at 10 years old and watching him, the last 4 or 5 days here, meet all of you guys and all the Hall of Famers, the smile on his face, that's truly what it's about. And the learning lesson I took from my parents was now how to apply it to my kids. Don't put pressure on them. When they want to work, come to me and we'll be there.
Trevor,
Yeah.
having your mother here was really special too, wasn't it?
It really was. And I know Dad was here in spirit. My dad was born the day after the Titanic went down, if that gives you some perspective. He was 55 when he had me, and so you saw me up there yesterday with some spectacles to be able to see. I couldn't imagine being 65 with a 10-year-old firing baseballs in the backyard out of him, and his old-time glove trying to catch it. But he as well never denied me that opportunity to have a catch and to enjoy baseball and love the game because of his love for it. And so to have Mom here yesterday was such a thrill, and she's such a big fan, and truly is amazing that she's in great health, knock on wood, and was able to share this moment with us.
That's great. So, and I throw it out to every one of you to answer. When you looked at that plaque, what was it like?
Boy, they don't have a lot to work with, but I thought it looked pretty good. That was cool. I had to give a little pat, and again, I know I'm speaking for all of us. We're just shaking our heads, doing a lot of smiling, shaking our head this week. But to see that, we had come in a few months ago with the orientation and the way they do it now. You sign it behind it, and then when they put the plaque on, that's going to be there forever. But the Hall of Fame's forever. Obviously, we're not going to be around forever, but this will, and we're part of it. And that's very special.
When you walked around the hall and saw all those people, all the plaques up there, whether it be Babe Ruth or Willie Mays or Mickey Mantle or whatever, did that even have more impact on you than just getting the news in January?
I don't think there's any doubt. The first time you walk through that hallway with all those monuments, it's like walking down the tunnel at Old Yankee Stadium. There's an aura there. You can feel the ghosts, of all the great players that have walked down those halls. Just to kind of expound on what Tram was just saying, I took my mom and dad and my kids the other day for a tour, and Dad walks up to Mickey Mantle's plaque, and he puts his hand on the plaque, and he's got to turn away because he's getting choked up. He doesn't want his grandkids to see it. I got to turn away because I'm starting to get choked up because he's getting choked up. But you sit there and you wonder, now that our plaques are up on the wall, how many people are going to walk by and put their hand on your face because you meant something to them. I'll smack you. Because I'm trying to get all sentimental here, and you're making jokes.
I didn't want you to cry.
And put their hand up on your face and have the same reaction. I mean, we realize that we've touched a bunch of people, through the years, just by playing the game of baseball the way we did, and that's pretty awesome to me.
Peter, as you guys are all talking about mom, Vladdy's going, me? So, Vladdy, as Peter was asking, having your parents there yesterday as he received the plaque, como recibiste la placa, ¿verdad? Recibiste la placa, estuvieron ahí tus padres. ¿Qué significó? ¿Qué historias vinieron a tu mente? Y en realidad, ¿qué recuerdos traes de tu madre en el pasado educándote a ser un mejor hombre?
Bueno, me vino a mi mente cuando mi mamá se fue a Venezuela, nos dejó a los 5, los 3 más grandes vivían con mi abuela, y que uno no sabía que podía estar ahora mismo en el Salón de la Fama, junto con mi mamá, que me ayudó bastante. Los años que jugué en Grandes Ligas, llamaba saliendo de si fuera de Nueva York o de otro sitio, que me hacía la comida, y cuando llegaba estaba la cena, la comida, y yo creo que me siento contento. Que Dios me dé salud y que vio que me metieron aquí en el Salón de la Fama.
So grateful that she was able to be here and to watch me go into the Hall of Fame along with my father. But what really comes to mind is when she had to sacrifice and leave the Dominican Republic and leave 5 kids alone because she needed to go to Venezuela to work at a home as a maid to provide for us. And before you know it, the gratification comes from having us now providing for her. And during road trips, he recalls about the famous food was that he knows he could always call mom 2 or 3 days before heading home in Montreal or Anaheim or Texas or Baltimore, say, Mom, I really feel like eating this type of Dominican food today, and he knows it was going to be there waiting when they came back from a long road trip. But certainly he truly special to have them there and to recall all the things that she did for him as a youngster.
Great. This is my 50th year covering Major League Baseball, and I must say that it's never been about me. It's about the players, and that's what's made my years so great. But I can honestly say, of my 27, 28 weekends here at Cooperstown, this is one of my 2 or 3 favorites. And I think the fact that they had a record number of people go through the hall on Saturday, and the response of the audience and the relationship that all of you had with your city has made this is really special. And I guess the best way for me to say, to wrap this up, I'm really proud to be here with you guys. I've known all of you for a long time, and I'm really thankful for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Peter.